One day. One day we will do a 3-hour episode, but that week is
What?
not now. Not today. Welcome, everybody. This is Two Beans and a Screen, the podcast where my co-host Qomi and myself, CB, we talk about the latest K-dramas. Right now, we're in the middle of Reborn Rich, and we are reacting to episode 11. Another very, very intense episode. Qomi, I'm going to throw it over to you because we have hit another milestone. We passed 75 subscribers, which is a big deal for us.
Yay, thank you so much for the 70-something subscribers. That's crazy. Like, it's going up more than we thought it would be, right?
Way more. We're not even finished the series yet, so this is a big milestone for us, and we have some fun stuff planned, but we're going to dive right into our impressions, our review, our analysis of the episode, because so much happened to this one. We are in the thick of it. And Qomi, before that, we have to ask, for those who have not, feel free to hit that subscribe button, like the video if you actually enjoyed it, and share your thoughts on the episode as well. Let's go right from the top of the episode. What happened this episode?
Yeah, so, okay, because we stopped at episode 10, and it was crazy that we could even stop at episode 10.
Right.
It's been a week since we watched the last episode. I was like, okay, yeah, everything's like going business as normal or whatever, and then I was like, wait, what happened to the car crash at the very end of the episode? Where are we right now? What the heck? So obviously do a little bit of like a rewind. It shows that Hyunmin and 2 Alpha is at her art studio. She's giving her a painting, kind of just like as an apology for taking the heat of like 1 Alpha pouring coffee onto her, and 2 also shows up, and he basically says like, oh, I have to undo what I did, which is basically like telling the news that Jin Do Jun and Miracle Investments was manipulating the new data technology stocks. And a very important line he says is that, or like he's just basically telling Hyunmin that one has is going to be safe and everyone has his back, because Songjun has me, and more importantly his powerful in-laws to have his back, something my youngest nephew Dojun doesn't have. So he basically also hates Jin Do Jun now, as his entire family does almost, after what he did. And kind of cuts to another scene where 2-0 and 1-0 is talking to the chairman about Songjun, telling him like, oh, we need him to come back, like it's been so long already. I honestly don't even remember why he's so mad at him. Was it because of just like the what's it called, when he was doing the slush fund?
Yeah, the slush fund, the wedding reaction. I feel like it's as much that he's immature as it is any one thing that he did.
So he's been mad at him for like 3-ish years now, probably. I don't even know the timeline we're in right now.
No, I forget the timeline altogether.
Yeah, we're in the early 2000s.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, and basically they wanted to throw something into the newspaper, and the chairman makes a really good point saying, would you believe it if you saw it in Hyeongsong Daily? Everyone knows that your son is married to the daughter of the Hyeongsong Daily family, like, which is also very obvious too. Like, what I'd... Anyways, they really want him to bring Songjun back because they believe it's either him or Dojun's going to take over Sunyoung. And after that discussion, it cuts to a scene where Hyungmin is talking to 1-1, basically saying, yeah, like you've been reinstated. You're coming back, but grandfather wants to talk to you first. And he says, like, now that my exile has come to an end thanks to you and your family's schemes, do you want me to bow down to you on my knees? And you see this, like, very intimate moment between them. They're standing so close to each other. They actually look like a couple, just for, like,
for a moment. For a moment, yeah.
And then they kind of get the I hate you look on their faces again. And she basically says, like, I worked hard for this opportunity for you, so don't blow it. Get your act together from now on. And there's the cute moment between Jin Do Jun and Sung Min Young in the parking lot where she's asleep waiting for him, and she's so excited to tell him, oh my god,
vindication.
There's nothing I could find. There's nothing. But you already knew that. And then he okay. I thought he was gonna just be kind of a little bit cold again, because I don't know. That's what he does,
It's
right?
who he is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, he pulls her in and gives her a hug and says, like, this is going to be the last time you investigate me as a prosecutor. I promise it won't happen again. But I'm like, I promise. Like, I feel like those two words, I promise, it's leading into something that he's not going to keep his promise.
No. No. Okay. So there's a lot to talk about here. The first thing I want to talk about in that first scene, I don't know about you, but I got the impression that 2-0 was basically telling Hyunmin that no matter what at this point, we have to be a united force that is going to beat Jin Do Jun. It's no longer about each individual aunt or uncle or family getting the Sunyong Empire. They all are working together now. So 1-1 needs to know that we have his back. Is that kind of what you took away from that scene?
Yeah, because he lost everything himself. He doesn't have anything. He's signed his shares away. Like, he either has to support Jin Do Jun or support Song Jun, and obviously he's not gonna support the one who
Took away everything.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's that thing of at the beginning of the scene I was like, okay, he can't be doing something good here. That wouldn't be in his character to come and be like, you know what, I'm gonna fix this situation out of the good of my heart. And I'm like, wait, no. What are you actually pulling? Is it like did you read it the same way where like everything played out and then it all makes sense where of course he's basically just there to put it in his nephew's head and his niece's head. I'm the good guy here who can help you in any situation. Rely on me so one day I can call in a favor. Is that basically what you saw playing out?
I feel like everyone knows he's kind of like a rat. Like, he always plays into the favor of whoever he's talking to, talking them up and being like, oh, you know me, like, I'm just so nice and like so humble. I'll help you no matter what. I'm your uncle. But like,
Yeah.
I think everyone knows like it's just an act. So
Yeah.
I feel like even if they do have his support, which I don't think they see it as a very grand thing, like how much can he support them? Like, they will still join forces because like anything to take down Jin Do Jun, right? But like I feel like he's not that important of a character to them. Yeah. As even though he said like, oh, we're the big powerful in-laws, like not really anymore.
Right. And so that's it. Like, I feel like all the power from 2-0 and 3-0 is gone. And now it all rests with 1-0 and 1-1. And 1-0, basically since they first met him, like he was actually the immature one when Jin Do Jun was kind of talking back to him and he got upset and they made fun of him. But since that point, 1-0 has kind of been the mature one. He hasn't really gone after... 1-0.
Oh, 1-0.
Yeah. Do you remember the moment I'm thinking of back? Okay, so when Jin Do Jun was very, very young, and he first comes to talk to his grandfather, to like at the house, and all three of the aunts and uncles are there, and he kind of like makes fun of his uncle, and his uncle like gets worked up and almost wants to like go and hit him, and then 2-0 calls him out and is like, "Wow, how old are you? You still get worked up over this?" And I was like, oh, so he has a temper as well. Never came out, get out again.
I vaguely remember that. Like I see it like blurry, but I can't
Right?
remember specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
It stood out to me because at that moment I was like, okay, so he is definitely 1-1's father. Like he has that bubbling anger inside. It hasn't come out again. I keep waiting for his anger to come out, but he's always the calm one. And
Actually,
so... Yeah.
it comes out when 2-0 insults his son.
Right. Yes, it does. He got real mad.
Yeah, I think he's at the point of his life now where everyone can insult him, he'll just take it. But no, you don't talk to my son that way.
No, that's such a good point. That's so interesting. He's like the opposite of his father, except talking about Soon Young.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all these family dynamics are so interesting, and then of course we get into the scene with 1-1 and Hyunmin. Fascinating scene. Anytime they're on screen together, I highly enjoy it just because they are so toxic towards each other.
Yes.
So Yeah, I really enjoyed that scene. Well, and this episode was another one where we made so many comments about what we want to see in the next episode or in the coming episodes. They gave us pretty much everything that we asked for. We're like, we want to see more Won and Hyunmin. Okay, we got that. And as we'll get into later, we want to see more 4 family. We got 4-0, we got 4-1, we got 4 alpha, we got all that stuff, and so it was an episode of dreams in many ways.
Yeah, I actually really liked this episode, even though I felt like they threw a lot at us because they did. Like, these scenes weren't as long. It had a lot of like cutting to this family, that family, these people, this company. But I still thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I didn't feel like it was too much. I mean, like, obviously it was a lot of information, but it didn't feel suffocating.
I think part of that is because now that we're on episode 11, they've done a great job of building up all of these characters to the point where we know, like, even if it's a short scene, they don't have to spend 5 minutes on a moment to kind of sell us through. Like, we have the backing to understand it. Whereas I feel like when in some of the earlier episodes when they would rush through things, I'm like, wait, but we don't know anything about this person. We don't know why they're doing that or any of this. And now we're like, yes, yeah. All the stuff, all the plot points, just throw it at us. We'll get so much more done in an episode. So this one was very fast paced, as you said, but I also really, really, really enjoyed it.
Yes, and oh my gosh, speaking of the small scenes and moments, we're just gonna jump right in and freaking talk about the car crash because I want to talk about the driver.
The driver.
Like, okay, it was so freaking random because I was like, obviously, how are you gonna get out of getting hit by a freaking truck? Like, there's no way. And you see this little car swerve in, and then they do the eye contact, and it's the driver, that Jin Do Jun. Like, I guess it's like that it pays off being nice to people, right? Like, obviously.
Yeah. Yep.
If he was a butthead to him that treated him poorly, and like he knew that he worked for 202, right? He knew that he was a traitor as well. If he like didn't give him the time of day, do you think he's gonna jump out in front of the freaking truck to save you, type of thing, right? So I don't know, man. I was so sad when I saw it was the driver. I'm like, no, don't do it. It's not worth it. But I mean, loyalty, right?
Loyalty.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think I couldn't do that if I saw my boss about to get hit by a truck. I'd be like, 911, help. Bro, you telling me you're gonna go in front of the truck?
No. I would like to think I'm a decent human being. That's next level. That's next level.
Yeah, it's like the same thing as like would you jump in front of someone if it was a bullet? Like I might, like I actually might, because it's like it doesn't feel as like a certain death as a truck. But I mean,
we see like
but yeah,
he was in serious condition. Like we thought that was the chairman. So the reveal plays out that like, oh, crash, and we see the family arrive at the hospital, and we're like, oh my god, they're both gonna die. And then we get the reveal that, oh no, Jin Do Jun's just completely fine, and we're like, oh okay, so I guess he got out of it. And then we find out, oh, the chairman's also alive, and it's like, huh? It's like, what? And then of course we find out that the driver like drove in and basically blocked them, and we find out he's not okay. He is definitely not okay. He's getting the best medical attention in the entire country, so he might be fine, but yeah, that dude took a truck.
Yeah, man, like Jin Do Jun owes him his life. Like he basically,
yeah, but also it's that thing of like so this is one of the first moments where Jin Do Jun didn't predict the future. He didn't know that they were going to get into a car crash, and not only that, he couldn't have predicted what was going to happen with this driver, because as well, and unless maybe there was some connection in the future that he knew about. No, he was just thinking that loyalty would pay off in the end. If he didn't punish this driver, because he could have fired him, he could have sent him back to 2O's company or whatever it is. He kept using him. He kept being like, no, loyalty. And that's just Jin Do Jun now, not knowing anything about the future. He didn't use a superpower. He just did what was right. And that was nice to see pay off.
Yeah, I think he wasn't necessarily thinking about loyalty. I think maybe he just thought he wasn't a threat either. Like, oh, he's supposed to be there spying on him, but he's not really a threat. And like some maybe a little bit of loyalty plays into like if you're nice to them, they're gonna turn on them, right? Type of thing. So I don't know, man. I was just like, my heart, the driver. I can't believe he did that.
I know. It was one of those moments where in anything but a Korean drama, I'd be like, no. Too much Deus Ex Machina taking place here. Too like out of nowhere. Here though, I'm like, you built it up. You because he had the speech last episode with him where he found out that he betrayed him again, and he was like, no, you know what? I believe in you, and I trust that you will do the right thing. And it's like, he did.
Dude, oh my god. And they played it well too with the Mr. Lee sent him to deliver a suit. And it just so happened to be there at the same time. Like
They had a reason.
I'll accept that, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, but before the car crash, like they were basically solidifying that Jin Do Jun is going to take over the financial group. The chairman was basically set on it. He says, I can see the burning greed for money in your eyes. You're so greedy for money that you don't fear me, and you're ruthless even with your family and relatives. You're ill-tempered just like me. When he asked, do you really plan on handing over the company to me? Like, have you ever seen a moment where the chairman seems so sure about his succession plans?
Not since he was saying primogeniture had to take place. That like he was so dedicated to that. This is the moment where you can see it. He fully believes it that this is his successor. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and like as we've seen in the later scenes, that he's still like pretty set on it. He even when they're trying to figure out who orchestrated the car crash, he kept kind of saying like, this is going to be your this is gonna be yours. The financial group is yours. To Jin Do Jun. Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like you get that inkling feeling. Oh, you keep saying that, but that's not gonna happen. Something wrong's gonna happen.
Too many things were going right. Something had to go wrong. Yeah.
Dude, I thought he was just gonna die in his sleep or something.
I thought the brain tumor would act up. Like, okay, so addressing the end of the episode a little bit, because I don't know about you, I thought for sure the end of the episode would be him dying, because they survive, and then they come up with this plan to reveal who the traitor was, because they know it was somebody in the family who had this hit done. It's revealed Jin Do Jun is approached by a security person from the company who found the license plate number of the chairman's car. So they know this is... Right. And so we know it's premeditated. And so when Jin Do Jun, Mr. Lee, and the chairman are all kind of working through this, his plan is he's going to show up at the shareholders meeting and surprise all of them as, I'm alive! Like, talk about a moment that all of us wish we could have at some point. You know, you get to go to your own funeral. It's one of those, like, sadistic things that just in the back of your brain tickles you in a weird way. But it's that thing where he was going to show up and find out who it was. But there's that moment where we're like, there's no way that can happen. There's no way that can happen. His brain tumor's going to act up. He has an injury that nobody realized. He's going to die. He has to die at the end of the episode.
The fortune teller said he most certainly won't pass away this year. He'll never succumb to accident, injuries, or illnesses. There's no way he was going to die, at least this episode.
Somebody give this fortune teller a raise. This is the most accurate fortune that has ever been told. This is twice now. Nailed it.
Yeah, and it's so funny when you see 2-0 freaking out that he says this because he's like, Jin Do Jun is supposed to die, and if he does it, he's going to have what was it again? And he's like, astronomical wealth.
Astronomical wealth.
And he's so funny. He's like, why are you telling me this now? And he's like, because you just asked me now.
which is true. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And we'll get to what actually ends up happening to the chairman later. But yeah, it is that thing where they've kind of like layered to the point where we can't predict what's going to happen, even though they've given us all the hints. It's so well done. It's so well done. Okay, so car crash happens. We need to talk about the family as well. So
Everyone's reactions.
right. Yes. What did you think? First to show up are 1030 and 1020 and 30's families. Yeah, the whole families. Basically the entire family except for 4's family show up at this point. What did you think of that scene and all of the reactions?
Everyone's like, "Oh my god, father!" And then immediately one was like, "So he's not gonna wake up from this coma. Our stocks are gonna plummet on Monday. I think the person who should make the decisions based on father is me, the eldest son." And I'm like, okay, I guess like you had to think about the company, but like your father is in the hospital from a serious car accident in a coma, and your first instinct is, oh, I should take over because I'm the oldest son. And like you see everyone saying, even 3-year-old calls me, like, you don't even seem like you're that phased. Like, did you plan this? Like, did you see this coming? Because why aren't you emotional right now? And I don't know, man. I just thought it was really typical like conglomerate family. Like, oh no, our rich father is sick and dying. Oh, what are we gonna do? Boo hoo! Like the typical like trying to grieve scene. What about you?
It's so messed up, and the poor grandmother, she is so worried about her husband, and she's so disturbed and disgusted by her children.
Yes.
She even says something along the lines of, "I know I gave birth to all of you, but I am appalled by you right now."
Yes. Like she can't fathom how awful her kids turned out to be.
Yeah.
But it's like, you guys are a rich family. Like, what did you expect? And it was so funny when she like screams at them, saying like, your father was right about you guys, and like telling them to get out and leave her alone, because she's like, I'm afraid your father will never wake up because he doesn't want to see the fools that you guys are.
It's so funny.
Dude, there's so many good lines, and like there's so many little funny moments in this episode. I loved all of them. It all helped like elevate the show slightly.
Yeah. Break up all the serious tones but just as you said, they're small. It's like a line here or there. It's not like they bring in lots of comedy. It's like a line or a moment here or there just to like lift it, so then you can go back down into it again.
Yeah, because she immediately says right after, "Heed my advice. Do not raise your voices in front of me again." Like that was just like just slammed you back down. I was like, oh, grandma is so scary. I love it.
Finally, again, I feel like a lot of people got their moment this episode. She gets real scary, and you can see that they understand. Like, she may not hold power in terms of Soon Young. She holds power in the family, though. There is influence there, because 2-0, after this meeting that they have about the father, is basically like, right, she did help build Soon Young up to what it is. Like, you can see that he respects her.
Yeah, because he says like the chairman wouldn't have been able to grow Soon Young without her support.
Right. Yeah. It's exactly that, and I just appreciated that she recognizes her own children. What I find funny though is if it was reversed and the chairman, like if it was him as his father was the one, he absolutely would be having the same conversation. He'd be like,
Yes.
"What do we do for Soon Young?"
Yes, yeah, and yeah, you just see the entire time where like 1-0 is basically like, I need to take over, and 2-0 and 3-0 it's like, forget about that right now. Like, our father is injured, and I don't know, like I feel like he is too eerily poker faced about this, which I guess like it was the point to build up the tension of like he possibly could have orchestrated this, because he's way too calm about it. But like we called out in the previous episode we thought that was either him or 1-1. And
Yeah.
jumping back to the ending,
Yeah.
we find out that it is most definitely 1-1.
It's definitely 1-1. I think you were the one who actually called it out being 1-1. I think I was more on the 1-0 side. And you were absolutely right. It's a
so
good reveal
sus.
too. It's a good
Yeah.
reveal.
Oh my gosh, with the painting, that juke. Okay, like you know how some shows are like every show is predictable in their own way. This show still kind of keeps us on our toes because like they really guide you into one direction, and then
Yep.
they're like, nope, swerves the other way, which I am happy that we're still getting thrown off guard.
Totally,
Because
totally.
yeah, like we totally thought could have been 2-0 and 2 alpha because we see in the very first minute of the episode that she's taking a painting from Hyunmin's gallery,
Yeah.
and then another. Well, look, the data check is basically the painting that the people who orchestrated the attack from, right? Like they guide you thinking it's going to be 2-0, and then it turns out to be 1-1 with the one line when she says, you've never taken a painting without telling me before, so who did you give it to?
Yep. Yep. It's so interesting the way that, again, they layer information. They gave us moments for basically everybody but 1-1. So you see 2-0 there at the beginning of the episode, and then we see later on someone else, and like everybody has connections to this place. They've all borrowed paintings or all of that stuff. When it's revealed, it's as simple as that's the first time that you have taken a painting without asking me. And it feels like their relationship. I feel like, again, it could have felt like Deus Ex Machina of, oh, well, you just pulled out the rug from under us because there was no hints. And it's like, no, those hints have been there all along. This is their exact relationship. She doesn't trust him. And she doesn't even
Yeah.
say, I know what's going on. No. She's going to wait for the right moment to be like, oh, I know what you did. It's, why did you take the painting without asking?
Yeah, like it's exactly what you said. We are getting information the way that through these characters' personalities and how they talk and how
Yes.
they react. Because
Yep.
So Min Young mentioned when she's like, "Why didn't you say from the very beginning that it was theft?" And she's like, "Would you trust the gallery if they had a painting stolen from them?" Like, it's the way her character presents information, and I like how it's not just like the overall narrator telling us like, oh, it's supposed to go like this or it's supposed to go like that. Like we see all these little revelations from the characters themselves, which is just so clever, and like
Yeah.
they work really well in this show.
Totally. It's definitely one of the strongest points of the show. I remember early on, I was like, oh, are we going to get enough time with these people? Like, the weakest part to me is the family. Now at this point, it's like they've built them up so well that we just know what they are like going to do in a scene based off of what we know about them. And so when something happens that's out of character, we're like, okay, something's up. This does not feel right. And it's what I think also makes 1-0 an interesting character at this point, because we don't know. Like, as you were talking about, when the family's together and the chairman is in the hospital, quote unquote, dying, 1-0 is the one who's like, oh, I'm going to fill in and I will make sure that everything plays out the way Father wants it. On one hand, that's what the chairman would want. He wants the shareholders meeting to go ahead, and the others do not. The others don't want it to go ahead because they want to, stop the financial group from going to Jin Do Jun. That means that they have no chance at owning the company. On the other hand, it also is them trying to be like respectful and being like, no, we will hold off for him. We should focus on his health. Whereas 1-0 is like, well, no, I'm going to do what he wants. That's what we should be doing. We should respect him. On the other hand, he's definitely trying to like fill in as if he doesn't recover, I'm the natural successor. So there's a lot that happens in this, and they take different approaches, but it's also, do we trust 1-0? And as we see later, he's called out by 2-0, and he actually reflects on that, and he's kind of like embarrassed that he would go through with carrying out the shareholders meeting and like pushing forward with the financial group. And then he gets embarrassed because he's like, I wasn't respecting my own son in that way. And it's like, is he as evil and conniving as the others? I still don't know. There's something genuine about him, but I can't trust him.
I don't know, man. He was the chairman in the previous life, right? And we saw how nasty he was to 1-1. Like, you see
Yep.
this loving father in this life where he's so ashamed he can't even look at him saying, I should have protected you. I should have done this. I should have done more.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the previous life, he's like slaps him across the face. And as he's getting a heart attack, 1-1's like, oh crap. And he's about to dip. Like,
Yeah.
so I feel like the glimpse of the old life is also a representation of their personalities in this life as well, because they can't be
Totally.
that much different, right? I think he is pretty nasty in his own way, but he's just not showing it yet. Like, he doesn't have enough power to do so yet, so I think he's trying to, that's why he's trying to take this opportunity and be like, yo, our father's basically gonna die, like, I need to take over now. Because what's stopping him from also when he becomes a chairman, right? Let's say he's supposed to not wake up because he doesn't know that the chairman's in a coma, right?
Of
What's
course, yeah.
stopping him from being like, oh, I'm gonna give the financial group to my son? Because wasn't the chairman going to elect Jin Do Jun anyways without any vote? Or like, I don't, I guess it's not really, I'm not really sure, because in the middle of the episode they're saying he was going to elect Mr. Lee, and then they're like, nah, but like in reality we're going to make sure that you become the financial group chairman or whatever. So was the chairman going to elect Jin Do Jun, or was he going to just give it to him? Because it sounded like he was just going to give it to him.
So yeah, I feel like, well, I think the financial group he's giving to him, and then the company, I feel, I actually, I don't know. Yeah, now that you point that out, I don't know. Because
Yeah, like
they
that
were,
part confused me.
yeah, now that you say that, what was the press conference for then? Like, he was giving him the financial group, right?
Yeah, I thought he was going to straight up say Jin Do Jun is going to be the CEO of the Sun Young Financial Group.
And then but it's probably a formality, right? So I am elect, like he will be the CEO, and then they go to the shareholders and they have to like elect them, and that's why he will nominate Mr. Lee, because Mr. Lee would decline anyways. And it's a formality, and everyone will vote for Jin Do Jun. I think. But you're right. In that case, if 1-0 becomes the chairman, he could just elect other people.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
what's stopping him from doing that? Like, I don't know. I just thought like,
I think
why
there's a
would
couple layers there. Like, if you remember, they're also talking about how they're going to have to work with politicians, like go against other politicians who don't want to move back towards unregulated empires and that sort of stuff. And so if they don't go with the financial group, they can kind of continue on as they are. And so each of the siblings will get to keep their part of Soonyoung, and whoever's handed 1-0's part will own most of it, and they'll be kind of the de facto owner of the group.
I see.
Just my read on it. I have no idea. Business stuff beyond us. We're going to be
Yeah.
honest about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand it to the best of my abilities, but like, I guess it being in a different language too, and the subtitles going by really
sure.
fast. I'm like, I can't keep up sometimes.
No,
But
no.
yeah, anyways, well, we see them trying to take over, like 1-0 trying to take over and say like, we're going with the meeting. And
Yep.
that's basically what Mr. Lee kind of reports back to the chairman, saying like they still
sure.
want to go forth with it. And the chairman says, wow, they're not completely dull or whatever.
He respects it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he sees why they want the way they're reacting, like how people are kind of rejecting it, how 1-0 wants to go forth with it.
Yep.
Like, it's making the whole situation kind of muddy, and that's why he can't figure out who planned this.
For sure.
Yeah, but we see that they closed the investigation. The police are no longer investigating this because they said the truck driver was a drunk driver, and he dies in the accident. And
Yep.
the sedan that hits them in the first place was a stolen vehicle. I'm like, yo, you don't think any of that is sus? First, a stolen vehicle randomly smashes into your car, and suddenly, on the same road, at the same time, at the same moment, a drunk driver in a truck comes and hits you, but that's not suspicious at all. I don't know.
Pretty suspicious. And yeah, I mean, as we find out, it definitely is very, very set up to the point where, like, wow, multiple hoops to jump through to like hide this. Like, I want to know who came up with the plan. It could not have been 1-1. He's not that smart.
True. He probably, yeah, he's the one who's behind it, but like who
He
also
orchestrated
helped
it,
him.
but
Yeah.
who made the actual plan? I'm like, okay, who on his team? Is it somebody at the factory? Was it Hyunmin? It's not Hyunmin. She didn't know about it because, as we know, she's like,
Yeah.
oh, you took the painting. What did you
Yeah.
really use the painting for?
Yeah. And also, how has the siblings not like suspect this as well? Because like So Min Young, the first thing she says was that wasn't just an accident, was it? For Alpha, it's like that wasn't just a car crash. Like everyone knows that this is too suspicious. But so how come none of the siblings have like responded
Called that
in the
out?
same way, right? Yeah.
I think so. I had that same question about like, yeah, none of them are like suspecting each other in this moment. Like, I thought that would cause more infighting, and I feel like it could come up next episode when there's a little bit more of that. So oftentimes, stuff is not addressed in the episode where I think it needs to be because it's like an immediate thing, and then they address it in the next episode. It's kind of like the long term effects.
I guess.
I think that could still happen because I think for the moment, they're just honestly happy in a way that it's happened because it works out in their favor. Like they were about to have the entire company taken away from them. And 2-0 already knew that his father was sick. So he's like, well, this is just early. Congratulations. But in this case, it works out so well for them that they're not questioning it. They're just going with it because they definitely know. They all brushed it under the rug. They had the police close the investigation. And so it's that thing of, I think they know something's up, but either they assume that it was one of them, or they're just like, okay, I'll worry about that later. I have to focus on making sure that the company goes into my hands.
I guess. I guess I'll accept that for now.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. It's weird. They should probably address it.
Yeah, but speaking of which, when you mentioned that 2-0 knows about the illness, he conveniently drops it in front of 3-0 saying, oh, he's in a coma due to his chronic illness, right? The cerebral anterior venous malformation, right? Like, oh, wow. Oops, it slipped in front of her. Like, so do you think he deliberately told her for a specific reason? Like, because I don't think he only told her in that moment just to pressure the doctor into letting them see him, right? Like, he has to have told her for another reason, right?
It could be. I didn't really think that much into that moment, to be totally honest. But now that you say it, I think that's a very good guess. Like, I think he could have dropped it as, I know more than you. I think he could have dropped it as, you now owe me. He could have dropped it as, I had nothing to do with this because he was already dying. Or the opposite, I knew he was dying, so don't mess with me. It could have been any of the above. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, that's true, yeah. I didn't think about what you said, so we got each other.
I only thought of it right now. No, yeah. I think there could definitely be an ulterior motive. What did you think? What was your read on that situation?
Yeah, he's such a snake and he's such a rat. Like, he definitely has ulterior motives. Like, I feel like he doesn't give away information like that just to benefit him in the moment. Like, he needs leverage. Like, he needs to use it to benefit him more in the future as well.
Right. No, it totally makes sense. It totally makes sense.
Yeah, well, they are discussing about how they need to see the chairman, and it's like, you're terrible for keeping us from seeing him, blah, 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 blah. And I actually thought the doctor was going to slip up and by mistake, because the face he made when he's like, is he really in a coma? And the doctor's like, well, I'm like, dude, okay, no way, like patient, what was it? Doctor-patient confidentiality or whatever. Like, how are you so bad at this? Like, your face says it all. But then the 2-0 in a way saves him. It's like, oh, it's the tumor, right? So after all that, we see that they're demanding to go see the chairman or else. And he gives a call saying, oh yeah, we're gonna be going up and seeing him. And one of our favorite characters comes up. And CB, you can take it away.
4-0, you magnificent son of a gun. He shows up and he's like, whoa, where do you think you guys are going? And they're like, well, we're going in to see our father and there's nothing you can do. And he's like, well, actually, doctor, would you recommend right now that our father sees anybody? And he's like, well, no, of course not. If he came into contact with any bacteria or anything, it could threaten his life. And he's like, well, if you his physician were to do something that could put his life at risk, I will dismiss you right now on the spot because, if you remember, audience, I am the director of the medical facility. And it was like, just beautiful. Honestly, just a beautiful moment between a father and son, and this just, couldn't have gone down better. What did you think?
Dude, yeah, I mean, I've always wondered why he would have given him Soonyoung Medical Center shares, and like why he thinks was it just not as useful or as important to Soonyoung as a whole that they give 4-0 the medical center? Because dude, you're talking about your life, man. Anything you need, like, you have to go to the medical center. Anything that regards to your health, right? So I just thought like that entire moment from way back when the chairman gave them the shares, saying, "Yo, don't you come for like Soonyoung because this is all you're gonna get," and it ended up being played in their favor yet again,
Totally.
where he gets to whip out and says, "I'm speaking as the chairman of Soonyoung Medical Center." Like, I was like, "Oh, damn, let's go!" And then he also like warns them, if you make another scene at the hospital in regards to father, be ready for consequences. And you can see the fear in their eyes. I'm like, this is what
because
I
they
wanted.
know what that means. Like, again, in the time that the chairman's in the hospital, if they don't show up, that is going to be in the press. That is going to be seen by their father as a sign of disrespect. There's so much that goes into that threat, which is why it's so good, because 4-0 knows he's not in the race. Like, he's not a part of this at all. He's doing all of this to protect his son. And it's so nice in that way because, again, he's selfless. Here is this guy, and I do wonder, as you said, like when he handed him Soonyoung Medical originally, I was like, oh, because Soonyoung Medical isn't one of their big properties. Like, they probably own a couple hospitals and probably makes a lot of money, but at the same time, not gonna compete with something like their microchip business. Small thing. Now I'm thinking, he may not respect his son, but he knows he's the empathetic one. He knows that probably if he were to get in trouble, 4-0 would be the one to probably deal with that side of the business well. And I'm like, oh, this man, this family, this writing is on a next level when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because it could be that he simply gave it to him because of the medical. But then I get thinking about it. I'm like, was it? Did he see this coming? How? And just so well done on that front. And yeah, again, he was doing it to protect his son. The next scene that we transition into is basically 4-0 talking to Jin Do Jun, and for Alpha as well. This is another big scene where I realize how much I love these specific characters. 4-0 and 4-Alpha are probably my favorite characters on the show, and I will fight anybody for them.
As you should.
As I should, because, yeah, it just as the father is very, very concerned for his son and keeping him safe. Jin Do Jun at this point is in hiding. Nobody knows where he is, if he's alive, how he's doing. Everybody thinks he's probably in like critical condition.
Nah, they all know he's okay.
They know he's okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, they kind of like brushed it off. Like, didn't you hear? Like, Jin Do Jun's gonna be okay. Like, it's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I must have missed that because I was like, is he like fully in hiding? But that explains why he's also able to make the press release. But yeah, he is in hiding. Like, his life is at threat. He had a murder attempt placed on him and the chairman. And you can see the fear in his parents. His dad is working with him and kind of following his instructions, whereas his mom immediately freaks out. When she hears that it wasn't just a car accident, she's like, I'm calling the police. We are reopening this investigation. I'm getting you more bodyguards. She is everything a mother should be. She cares so deeply, and I just want to protect her at all costs. What did you think of the scene?
I thought in that moment she was going to divorce him on the spot or something, because she was like, you promised, like, you said that you'd make sure your family wouldn't touch Tojun.
Yeah.
And he almost got killed in a car accident, right? I thought in that moment, she's like, yo, we're done. We're getting divorced right now. Like, that's why they're divorced in the old life type of thing, like, because of everything that happened. I was like, oh, this is it. Goodbye. Like, they're not going to be together anymore. But obviously, Jin Do Jun goes and says, like, you can't tell them anything about this, because if it's someone from Soonyoung, they're just gonna get away with it because of Soonyoung's power and money. Like, we have to play this as grandfather would. And she also says, your grandfather is the scariest one of them all. Like, he's
Good
not
point.
trustworthy. Yeah, which is true, because he always makes it a point. It's like, do not trust anyone. Don't
Yep.
even trust me. And then, dude, that's such a mind game, man. Because it's like, I feel like that, like, those words kind of slip into the viewers, like, minds as well, where like you can't trust anyone in the show. Like, nothing is going to go as like you expected, which so far it hasn't really been. Like, kind of, it has wild turns here and there, but like, it's like my emotions, man. I so want Jin Do Jun and the chairman to have this relationship where like the one that they're
team.
building right now, yeah,
Yes,
that they're
yeah.
being they're on a team, but the back of your mind you hear him, don't trust anyone, don't trust me, and I'm like, my emotions, man. This is breaking my mental.
Yeah, and it's that thing where we've talked about how unpredictable the chairman's emotions can be. Like, he can flip a switch in 1 second, he's completely calm, and the next minute he's yelling. But in terms of his rationality, once you understand that everything is about Soonyoung, you can kind of predict what he's going to do,
Yeah.
even if he doesn't do it immediately, or it takes him a while to realize that's what he's going to end up doing, because primogeniture probably should have happened a long time ago. He would have handed it off to his oldest son. Even if his grandson messed up, he would still be in the lineup for it. It took him a while to realize that what's best for Soonyoung is Jin Do Jun, and he had to go ahead and betray his other sons. You could consider that a betrayal, but he's just doing always what's best for Soonyoung. Once you realize that's where his priorities lie, now Jin Do Jun is aligned with him, and people have gone and done what they think is best for Soonyoung. He may respect the assassination attempt, but at the same time, he's going to find who did it and punish them. And so, yeah, I think I'm hoping that their team up plays out, because it should, but things happen, and now it's not going to, and it makes me sad.
I was actually really sad, like, seeing the
Yeah.
ending. I was like, oh god. And
Yeah.
I guess like we can talk about it now, right? Where you see he is furious, figuring out that it's probably 1-1 who did it.
Yeah.
And you see the anger in his face. It's like his signature, like the angry grandfather look, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he kind of looks like a pug when he does that angry face, because his frown is so intense.
It's yeah. It's so
Right?
intense. Yeah.
Yeah, like he is furious, and then obviously Tojun and Mr. Lee are the ones discussing it, and then the camera on his profile view, and he turns and looks at Mr. Lee. You see the sadness in his. I've never seen that expression on his face before. I was like, god damn, like, this is a great actor, like, holy, because you can see all the emotions on his face, and it was so unexpected. Like, I felt like I just got hit with something. I was like, oh god, like, what is this? Why? I'm scared now too. And he says, I'm scared. Why are they trying to kill me? And
Yeah.
I thought those were such genuine emotions and questions when he asked, because like you said, like, he's the chairman. He understands why they're doing this, but at the same time, like, he has to figure it out. Like, someone's trying to kill him because he's the most powerful. But at the same time, he's only human. Why are they trying to kill me? It's normal to be scared. Like, I always thought, like, in the beginning when he was being so nonchalant about it, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna come out of nowhere because only I can do that. Only me, the chairman, is capable of pulling off such a scheme. And I was like,
Yeah.
he's so overly confident about this. Like, I would
He's
be
very
so
cavalier
scared.
in how he approaches this assassination attempt.
Yeah, because knowing it's your family, the people that you raised and you cared for, even though
Yeah.
like you value your company more, they're ultimately your blood, right? And these people are trying to off you. I was like, dude, how are you not affected by this at all? And then at the very last scene where he says, "Why are they trying to kill me?" I thought that was like a really genuine moment where like he's scared, and then you realize that's not it either. He basically is showing symptoms of his tumor.
Yeah, it was a difficult scene to watch because again, I this actor is phenomenal. I've seen him in a couple things now, and this is a whole new side to him. Every time I see him, he's in a very different role, and I respect him so much. I think this show is filled to the brim with really strong actors, and I think even then, he stands out in every scene he's in. He is so, so talented. But this scene especially, because we have never seen that side of him. He's never shown fear before. Even when he got back from almost dying on the airplane crash, he's like, this just shows I should be confident right now. This just shows that. Almost gets murdered in a car crash, immediately settles in and makes a plan. So for him to turn and show fear, something's off. Something immediately signals something's not right, or maybe he's finally breaking down. You don't know. And this scene hit me particularly hard. If you've ever been around someone with signs of dementia, it plays exactly like this. The writers clearly have either experienced it or done their research. These sorts of delirious effects. It's like the person I knew who had it was also a very confident, happy person. And you would have these moments where all of a sudden it would just trigger, and it was like they were a child again. And the fear, whatever part of their brain usually controls their emotions, is just gone. It's no longer there. And so for him to go into the state of sadness and then fear, and then he doesn't recognize Jin Do Jun. He recognizes Mr. Lee. And this is exactly how it happens. There were times where I was around the person I knew who had it, and they would recognize one person, and they wouldn't recognize another. Or they wouldn't recognize two or either of you, or they would think that they were 10 years old again, even though they were in their 80s. And it was all of the above. And so this scene played out so realistically to me that I was like, please don't do this. Just not anything but this, because it was so, so well done. And we see basically what happens is, he doesn't recognize Jin Do Jun, and he thinks he's the person who's trying to kill him. Mm-hmm. He recognizes Mr. Lee, and so he's asking Mr. Lee to get Jin Do Jun out. He's just saying, leave, please, please, please. He goes, cowers in the corner. And that's how the episode ends. After this whole plan. I'm so scared of what this means, though, because now... we talked about unreliable narrators in the show, meaning Jin Do Jun is not revealing everything to us. But unfortunately, this by default means that he is an unreliable narrator to his own story. He can't be trusted going into a shareholders meeting now. He can't be trusted with Jin Do Jun alone now. He can't. And not because he's a bad person, not because of any of this, because he's at the point where the delirious and kind of triggering effects from that brain tumor could kick in at any time unpredictably. So what does that mean going forward for him?
Dude, I know, right? That's like Jin Do Jun saw his future shatter in a way. Like the most present future is gone because this throws everything out the window now.
Yeah, whatever plans they had, whether he was going to buy the company, whether he was going to be handed the company, he was fearing that with the car crash. When they got through the car crash, he thought they were in the clear. Mm-hmm. He thought, okay, no, we're going to get them. No matter what happens, we're going to get them. The chairman now, if seen by the shareholders, could be ruled out of the company because he's not reliable. Like he could be considered, instead of being an asset, he is, I'm missing the word right now, a liability. He could be a liability. Yeah. And so this changes everything. Across the board, it changes everything. It changes the relationship with his children. It changes his relationship with Jin Do Jun. It changes his relationship with Sun Young. So anything can happen from this point. Whatever I thought was going to happen with the show, I thought it was just he was slowly going to go into this. He would have, physical pain. This is, oh my goodness. I just don't know what to do.
I mean, in earlier episodes, we totally thought, they announced he had a brain tumor, but we thought he was going to die from a car crash or something. Survives the car crash. So, everything I thought is also out the window, too, now. I don't know what the heck to expect anymore.
That's it. And then we still have, this was episode 11, so we still have 5 episodes to go.
Yeah.
5 episodes to go. Will he, this sounds really dark to ask, will he die this next episode?
Oh my god, I was thinking the exact thing before you asked it as well. I don't know if it's in the next episode, but I feel like we're definitely not going to see him in the finale. And
no,
just the way they have been playing, the story has been going, we expected him to die with around these episodes, remember? Like around maybe 10
I think we said between like 10 to 12, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to happen. And especially because the fortune teller is now influencing me, he's certainly not gonna die
this year. Yeah, true.
Where are we right now? Are we in December? Like, if it's
are we
December,
at the end of that 2001 year? Are we in the middle of 2002?
Yeah, like my answer is based on what time of year it is right now. But yeah, it's like I don't know what to expect anymore. I feel like I can see him being here for a few more episodes, but we're definitely gonna see a funeral or something. We're definitely gonna see his kids being terrible people and kind of happy that he's gone, and they're gonna all fight for the succession now.
And I think it's probably, correct me if I'm wrong here, it's probably gonna end up the way it did. We're probably gonna end up with 1-0 as the chairman. Yeah. Everything will play out the same way. We'll get to the point where we were in the future, where 1-1 then steps in when he has a heart attack. I think 1-0 is probably going to find out that his son did this and was a horrible person and was totally inept when it came to business. And that's why they have such a strained relationship. There's a lot that I think will still play out. But do you think that everything is now going to end up at the same point that it did?
I can totally see it going that way because that's really good storytelling. You basically wrap up the entire thing from the beginning to the end like a circle and kind of bring it back, even though it's not entirely the same. It's like an isekai, like they went back and everything. But
yeah,
I can see it going that way, but I don't know how. I mean, Jin Do Jun's probably nearing his 30s now, right? So like in his old timeline, that he was probably in his 40s maybe. With the time progression in the show, I wouldn't be surprised that they do end up at the same time period.
Yeah.
But I think I would also like to see it not get to that point. I kind of want to divert more away from his old life and like see everything before that point as well. And I think we are going to see that. Like we're going to see everything up to the point where 1-0 becomes the chairman and everything. But I think it's going to get diverted again. Like Jin Do Jun is going to probably somehow take it over in a way, or he's not going down in the fight. Like everything's gonna be really messy, and I don't know. Like I can see your theory very clearly, but at the same time, I kind of want. I don't know what I want. I just want to see chaos. I just want to see.
I know you're all about the chaos.
Dude, I just want to see crying and screaming.
It's funny because when I think about where this could go, my immediate thought is, okay, we've answered the question of why the family hates Jin Do Jun by this point and why he couldn't remember him. He got the headaches and he couldn't remember him because he becomes him. Like that's very clear. We thought maybe he would die in the car crash, but not die in the car crash because he disappears and isn't in the autobiography. There's still time for stuff to happen. Do we think he's just going to disappear? Like, what is going to happen to Jin Do Jun in this timeline where his mother could be so upset and just want answers? She will hand whoever in the company wants her shares to become the owner of Soonyoung as long as they say what happens to her son. What could that be? Like, is he just going to go into hiding right now? And like, there's no way, right?
Like when he got hit by the car, I thought that's when he was going to go completely into hiding. Like no one can find him type of thing. And
right.
That's why his mom got so distraught. But like that's clearly not the case.
No. He goes back to Miracle. He talks to Mr. O. He goes and he's somewhat present. So it's not at this point that he goes into hiding. I mean, he could definitely disappear at this point. I don't think so, especially with the grandfather now, like the chairman dealing with all of these side effects of the brain tumor. I think we're going to see them all interacting. But what could possibly happen to strike fear into either Jin Do Jun or his mother to that level? To force her to divorce her husband. They clearly love each other so much. They are so caring as a family. What could force them apart?
Another hit on him, maybe?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, like continuous murder attempts. I don't know. It's one of those big questions, and something I'm excited to see in the coming episodes. Again, we probably have like 3 episodes before we get into the end game of the final 2 episodes. I still think the last episode will basically be we're at the point that the first episode was. I think that's my guess, is the last episode will start. 16 will start where we ended, and then we'll be getting the wrap up of Jin Do Jun in the future. And that's where I think we'll go. That's my personal guess.
Yeah, I guess my brain can't really comprehend that at the moment because in that timeline, technically he's not supposed to be there anymore, right? So I'm curious to see how they're gonna weave him back into that type of timeline where he's not supposed to be present and he is now. He survived death. He is going to keep messing with Sun Young. So I guess I just can't see it going as straight as like it could be.
Yeah, I mean, he's not supposed to be there, but we don't actually know. Like, we don't know if he survived or whether he's in hiding or any of that stuff. All we know is that his former self didn't know about him and was not aware of where he was or anything. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, we could divert drastically or we could end up in the exact same place. That's my personal theory, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess I'm cool with either way, if it goes that way or another way. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I would love to see them divert because then it really throws us off. We have no idea what will happen then.
Yeah. Wait, so do you think that the old Jin Do Jun in the old life was doing something similar then? Trying to take Sun Young from his family?
Good question. It depends on what type of... Again, we never fully got an answer.
Yeah.
I think so. I think probably... I don't know. Part of me is like, no, probably not. You know.
Then why did he have to die?
Yeah,
Or
no.
die, maybe.
That
die.
right there. I think you just answered it. He had to have done something for his family to feel that he was a threat. So yeah, I think so. I think he probably played out very, very similarly. The only difference is that he came in with his superpower this time, and I think almost everything played out exactly the same. He actually repeated it again this episode. You cannot change the future. Like he repeated that twice. And so that has put in my brain that either he's